It was a cold, misty morning when Megan, a veterinary nurse, decided to take a detour on her way to the clinic. The rural road, lined with frost-covered trees, was eerily silent except for the crunching of gravel under her car tires. Megan loved this route. It allowed her a moment of peace before a busy day of treating animals. But this morning would be anything but peaceful. As her car approached a bend, something unusual caught her eye. A golden figure slumped on the roadside. Slowing down, she noticed the unmistakable shape of a golden retriever lying motionless on the icy ground. Her heart sank. The dog's fur, once a vibrant golden hue, was now matted with dirt and patches of blood. It was shivering, its frail body rising and falling in shallow breaths. Megan pulled over, her instincts taking over. Grabbing a blanket from the back seat, she approached cautiously. "Hey there, buddy," she said softly, kneeling down. The dog opened its eyes weakly, their rich amber depths filled with pain and fear. A closer look revealed a thin frame, a deep wound on its hind leg, and signs of illness, likely an infection that had gone untreated. Scanning the area, Megan saw no signs of an owner or any belongings. The road was deserted, and it was clear the dog had been abandoned in its hour of need. Her chest tightened at the thought of someone leaving such a gentle creature to fend for itself. Gently wrapping the dog in the blanket, Megan carried it to her car, her heart heavy with both sorrow and determination. "You're coming with me," she whispered, as the dog whimpered softly in response. The sound tugged at her soul, as if the animal understood it was finally in safe hands. As Megan drove to the clinic, a mixture of questions and emotions filled her mind. Who could have abandoned such a beautiful creature? How long had it suffered alone? And most importantly, would it survive? The journey marked the beginning of a bond that neither Megan nor the golden retriever could have anticipated, a connection that would transform them both in ways they never imagined. Arriving at the clinic, Megan wasted no time. She carefully carried the golden retriever inside, its body limp in her arms but still emitting faint signs of life. Her colleague, Dr. Wilson, a seasoned veterinarian, immediately noticed her urgency and joined her in the examination room. "What happened, Doctor?" Wilson asked, as Megan gently placed the dog on the examination table. "I found him by the roadside. He's in bad shape, malnourished, injured, and possibly infected," Megan replied, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. "Doctor." Wilson nodded, donning gloves and starting his assessment. Megan watched anxiously as the examination progressed. The dog's condition was dire. The deep wound on its hind leg was heavily infected, its paw pads were cracked and bleeding, and its weight was dangerously low. A closer inspection revealed an even more heartbreaking detail, a faint scar around its neck, suggesting it had been tethered tightly for an extended period. "We need to stabilize him," Dr. Wilson said gravely. "Fluids first, then we'll clean the wound and run some tests. If the infection has spread too far, it could be life-threatening." Megan's hands moved instinctively, assisting as they inserted an IV drip to rehydrate the dog. As the fluids began to flow, the golden retriever stirred slightly, letting out a soft whimper. Megan leaned closer, gently stroking its head. "You're safe now," she whispered. "We're going to take care of you." The team worked tirelessly for hours. Cleaning the wound was a painstaking process, with Megan carefully flushing out debris and applying antibiotics under Dr. Wilson's guidance. Despite its weakened state, the dog's resilience shone through. Each small flinch and groan was a testament to its will to survive. After stabilizing the dog, Megan and Dr. Wilson reviewed the test results. The news was mixed. The infection hadn't reached the bloodstream, which was a relief, but the dog had severe anemia and signs of long-term neglect. Additionally, its limp suggested older injuries that had healed improperly, likely from past trauma. "What kind of person would do this?" Megan muttered, unable to hide her frustration. Dr. Wilson sighed. "Unfortunately, it's more common than we'd like to admit. Some people see animals as disposable when they're no longer convenient." Megan clenched her fists, vowing silently to give this dog a second chance. "What can we do for him now?" Dr. Wilson outlined the plan. A course of antibiotics, a high-calorie diet to rebuild strength, and physical therapy to address its mobility issues. It would be a long road to recovery, but both veterinarians agreed to do whatever it took. Over the next few days, Megan devoted every spare moment to the golden retriever, whom she affectionately began calling Sunny, inspired by the warm hue his fur would regain with proper care. Each day brought small victories. Sunny began eating small portions of the nutrient-rich food Megan prepared. His once lifeless eyes started to show flickers of curiosity, and he even managed to wag his tail weakly when Megan approached. Despite these signs of progress, challenges loomed. Sunny remained wary of human touch, flinching whenever someone reached for him too quickly. Megan suspected he had been abused, and it broke her heart to think of the fear he must have endured. She approached him with patience, speaking in a soft, soothing tone and using slow, deliberate movements. Gradually, Sunny began to trust her, resting his head on her lap during quiet moments in the clinic. One particularly emotional breakthrough came when Megan introduced a soft toy, a plush bone she hoped might comfort him. At first, Sunny simply sniffed it cautiously, but later that evening, Megan found him curled up with the toy between his paws. His eyes closed in what seemed like the first peaceful sleep he'd had in ages. Meanwhile, Megan couldn't stop thinking about the mystery surrounding Sunny's abandonment. She decided to investigate, posting photos of him, carefully cropped to exclude the wounds, on local animal rescue forums and social media pages. Found near Oak Ridge Road, the post read. Golden Retriever, approximately 4 years old, severely neglected but safe now. Does anyone recognize him? The responses were swift but disheartening. Some expressed outrage, others shared similar stories of neglect in the area, but no one claimed to recognize Sunny. A part of Megan was relieved. If Sunny's previous owners were responsible for his condition, he was better off without them. One comment, however, stood out. A woman named Linda mentioned seeing a man in a pickup truck dumping a dog by the roadside a few days earlier. "I didn't get the license plate," Linda wrote, "but it was a red truck and the man drove off quickly. I didn't realize how bad it was until now. I'm so sorry I didn't do more." Megan's jaw tightened as she read the comment. The idea that someone could so callously abandon a living being filled her with a mix of anger and determination. "It doesn't matter who left you there, Sunny," she murmured later that evening, gently stroking his fur. "We're going to make sure you never feel unloved again." Sunny's progress continued steadily. Though he still had a long way to go, his newfound trust in Megan and the clinic staff was a beacon of hope. Each wag of his tail, no matter how small, felt like a triumph. And while his past remained a painful mystery, his future was beginning to look brighter, thanks to Megan's unwavering dedication and Sunny's unyielding spirit. Sunny's recovery journey was a delicate balance of triumphs and challenges. As the days turned into weeks, his physical wounds began to heal. His fur, once matted and dull, regained a soft golden sheen with regular grooming. His appetite improved, and Megan found joy in seeing him eat heartily. Each meal he finished felt like a small victory, a step closer to restoring his strength. However, the emotional scars were harder to mend. Sunny was still skittish, particularly around men. The presence of Dr. Wilson or other male staff members at the clinic made him retreat into a corner, his body trembling. Megan recognized the signs of trauma and knew it would take time and patience to rebuild his trust. One day, Dr. Wilson approached Megan with a suggestion. "Why don't we try introducing Sunny to some of our therapy animals?" he said. "Sometimes dogs can find comfort in their own kind, especially when they've experienced trauma." Megan agreed, and later that afternoon, she brought Bella, a gentle Labrador mix who had been trained as a therapy dog, into the room with Sunny. Bella approached slowly, her tail wagging in a friendly rhythm. At first, Sunny stayed curled up in his bed, watching her with wary eyes. But Bella, with her calm demeanor, lay down a few feet away, creating a non-threatening presence. Over the next few sessions, Sunny began to warm up to Bella. Megan noticed the subtle changes. Sunny's tail wagged faintly when Bella entered the room, and he started to follow her movements. One heartwarming moment came when Bella nudged a ball toward Sunny. Hesitant at first, he eventually pushed it back with his nose. It was the first time Megan had seen him play, and the sight brought tears to her eyes. Despite these moments of progress, setbacks were inevitable. One morning, while taking Sunny outside for a short walk, a sudden loud noise, a car backfiring, startled him. Sunny bolted, his leash slipping from Megan's hand. Panic surged through her as she called out his name, chasing after him. Sunny ran blindly, his fear overwhelming his instincts. Megan finally found him huddled under a park bench, his body shaking uncontrollably. She crouched down, speaking softly. "It's okay, Sunny. I'm here. You're safe." It took several minutes of gentle coaxing before he allowed her to approach and clip the leash back on. That evening, back at the clinic, Megan sat beside Sunny, stroking his fur. "We'll get through this," she whispered. One step at a time. As Sunny continued to recover, Megan noticed his growing attachment to her. He followed her around the clinic, his tail wagging whenever she entered a room. She began taking him home in the evenings, believing that a more stable environment outside the bustling clinic might help him relax further. At home, Sunny faced new challenges. He was hesitant to explore the house, sticking close to Megan's side. But over time, he began to show glimpses of his playful spirit. Megan often found him curiously sniffing at the bookshelf or gently pawing at the soft throw blankets on the couch. One evening, Megan decided to test Sunny's comfort with human touch. Sitting on the floor beside him, she gently massaged his shoulders and back. At first, Sunny stiffened, but as her hands moved in slow, soothing circles, he relaxed. His eyes closed, and for the first time, Megan heard a soft sigh of contentment escape him. Despite his progress, there was still the lingering question of Sunny's past. Megan couldn't shake the image of the red truck mentioned in the online comment. She reached out to local animal rescue groups, asking if anyone had seen a similar vehicle or heard about abandoned animals in the area. One day, a rescue volunteer named Sam called her. "We've been tracking reports of animals being dumped in the same area where you found Sunny," Sam said. "It's possible he's not the only victim." The thought of other animals suffering the same fate reignited Megan's determination. She collaborated with Sam and other volunteers to organize a search of the surrounding area. They found evidence of neglect, discarded dog collars, remnants of food bags, and signs of makeshift camps where people might have left animals behind. While they didn't find more abandoned animals during the search, the experience underscored the importance of advocacy and education. Megan vowed to use Sunny's story to raise awareness about the plight of neglected animals and the need for stronger protections. Back at home, Megan and Sunny continued to grow closer. One night, as she sat on the couch reading, Sunny climbed up beside her. It was a first. He had never voluntarily sought out such close contact. Gently, he rested his head on her lap, looking up at her with trusting eyes. Megan's heart swelled with emotion. "You've come so far, Sunny," she said, stroking his head. "I promise I'll never let anything happen to you again." As Sunny drifted off to sleep, Megan realized that while his journey was far from over, they had already achieved something remarkable. Together, they had begun to heal, proof that even the most broken spirits could find hope and love again. As Sunny continued to recover, the bond between him and Megan deepened. Each day brought new breakthroughs, small victories that reminded Megan of his resilience. Despite the trauma he had endured, Sunny's spirit was slowly rekindling, and his gentle nature began to shine through. One of the most touching moments came during a routine walk at a nearby park. Megan had chosen a quiet time of day to avoid overwhelming Sunny, but she couldn't predict everything. As they walked along a shaded path, a family with young children appeared, their laughter echoing through the air. Sunny froze, his body tense and his ears pinned back. Megan knelt beside him, whispering soothing words, her hand resting gently on his head. The youngest child, a little girl clutching a stuffed animal, noticed Sunny and asked, "Can I pet your dog?" Megan hesitated, unsure of how Sunny would react. But before she could answer, Sunny took a tentative step forward, his tail wagging ever so slightly. The girl approached cautiously, her tiny hand reaching out. Sunny sniffed her fingers and, to Megan's amazement, licked her hand gently. The girl giggled, and Megan felt a lump rise in her throat. It was a moment of trust, a sign that Sunny was beginning to heal emotionally as well as physically. Sunny's growing confidence extended to his interactions with other dogs, thanks to regular playdates with Bella, the therapy dog. Bella had become Sunny's mentor of sorts, guiding him in rediscovering how to be a carefree dog. They played tug-of-war with ropes, chased each other in open fields, and lounged side by side during breaks. One afternoon, Megan decided to take Sunny to a local dog park. It was a leap of faith, but she felt he was ready for a more social environment. The park was bustling with activity. Dogs of all breeds ran, barked, and played together. Sunny hesitated at the gate, his eyes scanning the unfamiliar scene. Megan crouched beside him, her hand resting reassuringly on his back. "You're safe, Sunny. Let's give it a try." Bella, already inside the park, bounded over to greet him, her enthusiasm infectious. With Bella leading the way, Sunny stepped cautiously onto the grass. At first, he stuck close to Megan, watching the other dogs from a safe distance. But gradually, his curiosity got the better of him. A friendly golden retriever approached, wagging its tail, and Sunny responded with a cautious wag of his own. By the end of their visit, Sunny was trotting confidently around the park, engaging in light play with Bella and her new friends. Megan couldn't stop smiling as she watched him. It was as if Sunny was finally embracing the joy of being a dog again. Despite the progress, there were still challenges. One evening, a thunderstorm rolled in, shaking the windows of Megan's house with its booming thunder. Sunny, terrified by the noise, bolted under the dining table, his body trembling violently. Megan found him there, his wide eyes filled with fear. She sat on the floor nearby, giving him space while speaking in a calm, soothing tone. "It's okay, Sunny. It's just a storm. You're safe here." Gradually, she moved closer, her hand resting gently on his paw. After what felt like an eternity, Sunny inched toward her, pressing his head against her arm for comfort. Megan stayed with him until the storm passed, her presence a steady anchor in the chaos. The incident reminded Megan that healing wasn't always linear. Sunny still carried the weight of his past, and there would be setbacks, but each moment of trust, no matter how small, was a step forward. Sunny's story continued to inspire others. Megan shared updates on social media, posting photos and videos of his progress. One post, a short video of Sunny playing with Bella at the park, went viral, drawing attention from animal lovers around the world. Messages of support poured in, with many people sharing their own stories of rescuing and rehabilitating animals. Among the messages was one from a local journalist who wanted to feature Sunny's story in an article about animal rescue efforts. Megan agreed, hoping the story would raise awareness about the importance of adopting and caring for neglected animals. The article, titled "From Abandoned to Beloved, Sunny's Journey of Resilience," highlighted not only Sunny's transformation, but also the broader issue of animal abandonment. It included Megan's plea for stronger laws against neglect and cruelty, as well as her call to action for more people to adopt rescue animals. The article touched hearts, and donations poured into the local animal shelter where Megan volunteered. Back at home, Sunny continued to blossom. His days were filled with playful antics, long walks, and quiet evenings curled up beside Megan on the couch. One night, as Megan sat reviewing adoption inquiries for other dogs at the shelter, she glanced down at Sunny, who was resting his head on her knee. "You've changed my life. You know that?" she said, her voice filled with emotion. Sunny's tail wagged lazily, as if he understood. Megan realized that while she had set out to save Sunny, he had saved her too, reminding her of the power of resilience, love, and second chances. As Sunny drifted off to sleep, Megan made a silent promise. She would continue to fight for animals like him, to be their voice and their advocate. Sunny's journey wasn't just a story of survival, it was a testament to the enduring bond between humans and animals and the transformative power of compassion. As Sunny's confidence grew, so did his presence in Megan's life. He had transitioned from a timid, broken soul to an affectionate companion who thrived in her care. Their bond was undeniable, and Sunny had become an integral part of her daily routine. Each morning, he would trot to the door with his tail wagging, ready for their walks. His energy was infectious, lifting Megan's spirits even on her most stressful days at the clinic. One Saturday morning, Megan decided to take Sunny on a special outing to a nearby hiking trail. It was a crisp, sunny day, the kind of day that made everything feel fresh and alive. Sunny's ears perked up as they ventured into the woods, his nose twitching at every new scent. Megan laughed as he bounded ahead, only to stop and look back, as if making sure she was keeping up. As they reached a clearing, Megan noticed a group of hikers resting nearby. One of them, a young man with a kind smile, approached cautiously. "That's a beautiful dog," he said, admiring Sunny's glossy coat. "What's his name?" "Sonny," Megan replied, patting his head. "He's a rescue. It's been a journey, but he's come so far." The man's expression softened. "He's lucky to have found you. Dogs like Sonny deserve a second chance." They chatted briefly, and Megan felt a swell of pride as Sonny calmly greeted the man without his usual hesitation. It was a small but meaningful victory, a testament to how far he had come. Later that afternoon, Megan decided to review the adoption applications she had been helping process for the shelter. She had always been an advocate for adoption, and Sonny's story had inspired many in the community to consider rescuing animals in need. As she scrolled through the applications, an email from the journalist who had written Sonny's story caught her eye. "Update on Sonny's case" was the subject line. Curious, Megan clicked on it. The email contained new information about the red pickup truck that had been spotted near the area where Sonny was abandoned. A local farmer had come forward with a tip. He had seen the truck on multiple occasions, often near his property, where he suspected animals were being dumped. The farmer had provided partial license plate details, which the journalist had passed on to authorities. Megan's heart raced as she read the email. Could this lead to justice for Sonny and other animals who had suffered the same fate? She immediately replied, offering her support and any additional information she could provide about Sonny's condition when she found him. In the following weeks, the investigation into the red truck gained traction. Authorities discovered that it belonged to a man with a history of animal neglect charges. When confronted, he initially denied any involvement, but evidence, including surveillance footage and witness statements, painted a clear picture of his actions. Megan felt a mixture of anger and relief when she heard the news. Sonny's abuser would face consequences, but it didn't erase the pain he had caused. Still, Megan chose to focus on the positive. Sonny was safe now, and his story was inspiring change. Sonny's healing journey reached a beautiful milestone one evening when Megan hosted a small gathering of friends and fellow animal lovers. She had invited Bella's owner and a few volunteers from the shelter to celebrate Sonny's transformation. The gathering was a mix of laughter, shared stories, and of course plenty of treats for the dogs. Sonny was the star of the evening, moving comfortably among the guests and even accepting pats from people he had never met. Megan beamed as she watched him. The once terrified dog who had flinched at every sound was now confident and at ease. As the night wound down, one of Megan's friends asked a question that caught her off guard. "Do you think you'll keep him, Megan? Or are you still planning to find him a permanent home?" Megan paused, her hand resting on Sonny's head. She had always intended to foster him temporarily, to nurse him back to health before placing him with a loving family. But now, the thought of parting with him felt impossible. "I think he's already found his home," she said, her voice filled with emotion. Her friends cheered, and Sonny wagged his tail as if he understood. The next morning, Megan filled out the official adoption paperwork, making Sonny an official member of her family. It was a simple act, but it held profound meaning. Sonny was no longer a stray or a rescue, he was home. As they settled into their new life together, Megan often reflected on how much they had both grown. Sonny had taught her invaluable lessons about resilience, trust, and the power of unconditional love. And in return, Megan had given him the safety and affection he so desperately needed. Their journey wasn't just about survival, it was about transformation for both of them. Sonny had gone from being abandoned and broken to thriving and deeply loved, and Megan had found a kindred spirit in him, a reminder of why she had dedicated her life to caring for animals. On quiet evenings, as Sonny lay curled up beside her, Megan would stroke his fur and whisper, "You're safe now, Sonny, and you'll never be alone again." Sonny's story didn't end with his recovery. In many ways, it was just the beginning. Inspired by his resilience, Megan decided to take his journey a step further by advocating for stronger animal welfare laws and promoting the adoption of rescue animals. She believed Sonny's transformation could serve as a beacon of hope and change for countless other animals in need. Megan reached out to local animal shelters, rescue organizations, and advocacy groups, offering to share Sonny's story at community events. Her proposal was met with enthusiasm, and soon she and Sonny were regular guests at adoption fairs, school assemblies, and even city council meetings discussing animal welfare policies. Sonny's gentle demeanor and golden coat made him an instant favorite wherever they went. Children flocked to pet him, while adults were moved by his story. Megan often began their presentations with a slideshow of Sunny's first days after being rescued, images of his frail body and cautious eyes. She followed with photos of his transformation, playing with Bella, relaxing at the dog park and resting beside her at home. "He's living proof that every animal deserves a second chance," Megan would say, her voice steady with conviction. "And it's up to us to ensure they get one." One particularly memorable event took place at a local elementary school. Megan had been invited to speak to a group of students about responsible pet ownership and the importance of kindness toward animals. Sunny accompanied her, his tail wagging gently as the children sat cross-legged on the floor, eagerly waiting to meet him. As Megan shared Sunny's story, the room grew quiet. The children listened intently, their eyes wide with empathy. When she finished, a young boy raised his hand and asked, "How can we help dogs like Sunny?" Megan smiled, her heart swelling with pride at the boy's compassion. "There are so many ways you can help," she said. "You can volunteer at a shelter, donate food or supplies, or even adopt a pet when your family is ready. But the most important thing you can do is show kindness to all animals." After the presentation, Sunny patiently sat as the children took turns petting him. One little girl, shy and hesitant, eventually mustered the courage to reach out. Sunny responded by resting his head gently on her lap, earning a delighted giggle from the girl and a round of smiles from the adults in the room. Sunny's growing popularity brought attention to Megan's broader advocacy efforts. A local news station reached out, requesting an interview to highlight their work. The segment aired during a primetime slot, featuring footage of Sunny at the dog park, at community events, and relaxing at home with Megan. The response was overwhelming. Messages of support flooded Megan's inbox, and donations to local shelters increased significantly. Several people mentioned they had been inspired to adopt after hearing Sunny's story. Among the messages was one from a woman named Laura, who worked with a national animal rights organization. She proposed partnering with Megan to launch a campaign focused on raising awareness about animal neglect and abandonment. "Sunny's story has the potential to make a real impact," Laura wrote. "We'd love to collaborate with you." Megan was thrilled by the opportunity. Over the following weeks, she and Laura worked tirelessly to create the campaign, which they titled From Shadows to Sunshine, Every Pet Deserves a Chance. It featured Sunny's journey as its centerpiece, with posters, videos, and social media posts encouraging people to adopt, foster, or volunteer. As the campaign gained traction, Megan and Sunny found themselves traveling to new places to share their message. One trip took them to a neighboring state, where they were invited to speak at a large animal welfare conference. The event was attended by veterinarians, rescue workers, and animal lovers from across the country. Sunny, as always, was the star of the show. Megan recounted his story with a mix of emotion and determination, emphasizing the importance of taking action. "Every animal has a story, and it's up to us to ensure those stories have happy endings," she said. The presentation ended with a standing ovation. Sunny wagged his tail enthusiastically as attendees lined up to meet him, many of them sharing their own rescue stories. Megan was deeply moved by the connections Sunny was fostering, connections that transcended species and spoke to the universal power of compassion. Back home, Megan reflected on how far they had come. Sunny, now thriving and confident, had not only transformed her life, but had also inspired change on a much larger scale. Their journey together had evolved into something far greater than either of them. One evening, as they relaxed on the couch, Megan scrolled through her phone and came across a photo from the early days. Sunny, frail and trembling, wrapped in a blanket at the clinic. She compared it to the dog now sprawled across her lap, his golden fur glowing in the soft light. "You're a miracle, Sunny," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "And you've made so many miracles happen for others." Sunny wagged his tail lazily, his eyes filled with trust and contentment. As Megan drifted off to sleep that night, she felt a profound sense of gratitude. Sunny's story was a testament to the resilience of the human-animal bond and the incredible things that could happen when love and determination joined forces. The next morning, as the sun rose over their little home, Megan prepared for another day of advocacy and care. Sunny trotted beside her, ready to face whatever adventures lay ahead. Together, they were unstoppable, a shining example of hope, healing, and the extraordinary power of second chances. Sunny's story continued to ripple outward, touching lives far beyond what Megan could have imagined. His journey from abandonment to advocacy had become a symbol of hope, not only for animals but also for people facing their own struggles. Megan often received letters and messages from individuals who found inspiration in Sunny's resilience. One particular note stood out. It was from a woman named Lisa, who had been fostering a senior dog with severe health issues. "I was ready to give up," Lisa wrote, "but after reading about Sunny and everything he overcame, I found the strength to keep going. Thank you for sharing his story. He reminded me that even the hardest journeys can lead to something beautiful." Megan shared the message with Sunny as they sat together on the porch one evening. "You're changing lives, buddy," she said, scratching behind his ears. Sunny leaned into her touch, his eyes filled with the quiet wisdom of a dog who had seen the worst of life and still found reasons to trust. As the From Shadows to Sunshine campaign gained momentum, Megan and Sunny were invited to participate in a national animal welfare summit. The event, held in a bustling city far from their small-town home, brought together advocates, veterinarians, and policymakers. Megan was honored to be among the speakers, and Sunny was named the honorary ambassador for the event. The summit was a whirlwind of activity. Megan attended panels on animal rescue, networked with other advocates, and shared ideas for improving shelter conditions and increasing adoption rates. Sunny, ever the charmer, quickly became the center of attention. His calm demeanor and warm presence drew people to him, and many attendees remarked on how his story exemplified the power of compassion. During her keynote address, Megan spoke from the heart. "Sunny taught me that every life matters, no matter how broken it seems. His resilience inspires me every day, and I hope it inspires you too. Together, we can create a world where no animal has to suffer the way he did." The speech was met with thunderous applause, and as Megan looked down at Sunny sitting calmly beside her, she felt an overwhelming sense of pride. They had come so far, and their work was making a real difference. The summit concluded with a surprise announcement. Sunny would be featured in a documentary highlighting the importance of animal rescue and rehabilitation. The film, produced by a well-known organization, would follow his journey and explore the broader impact of advocacy efforts like Megan's. Filming began shortly after they returned home. A small crew spent weeks capturing footage of Sunny's life, from his playful antics at the dog park to his quiet moments with Megan on the porch. They also documented Megan's work at the shelter and the stories of other animals whose lives had been changed by adoption. One particularly emotional scene showed Megan revisiting the spot where she first found Sunny. As she stood by the roadside, holding Sunny's leash, she reflected on that fateful day. "I didn't know it then," she said, her voice breaking slightly, "but finding Sunny was one of the best things that ever happened to me. He's not just a rescue dog, he's a reminder that kindness can change the world." The documentary, titled Golden Hearts, The Power of Rescue, premiered to widespread acclaim. Viewers were moved by Sunny's story and inspired to take action. Shelters reported an increase in adoptions, and donations poured in to support rescue efforts. Amid all the attention, life at home remained simple and joyful. Sunny had settled into his role as Megan's constant companion, and their days were filled with quiet routines and new adventures. One sunny afternoon, Megan decided to take Sunny on a road trip to a nearby lake. She had heard about a scenic trail that ended at a secluded beach, and she thought it would be the perfect way to celebrate everything they had achieved. The drive was peaceful, with the windows down and the radio playing softly. Sunny rested his head on the armrest, his ears flopping in the breeze. When they arrived at the trailhead, he bounded out of the car, his tail wagging excitedly. The hike was breathtaking, with towering trees and glimpses of the sparkling lake through the foliage. Sunny explored every inch of the path, sniffing eagerly at the wildflowers and chasing the occasional butterfly. When they finally reached the beach, Megan sat on a log, watching as Sunny splashed happily in the shallow water. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, Megan felt a profound sense of peace. She thought about everything they had been through, the challenges, the triumphs, and the incredible bond they had formed. Sunny trotted over to her, his fur damp and his eyes shining with joy. He rested his head on her lap, and Megan stroked his back, savoring the moment. "You're my sunshine, Sunny," she whispered. "Thank you for showing me what love really means." In the weeks that followed, Megan began to notice a subtle but significant change in Sunny. He seemed calmer, more content, as if he knew his story had come full circle. His journey had started with abandonment and fear, but it had led to love, purpose, and a legacy that would continue to inspire. As they settled into a quiet evening at home, Megan reflected on how much they had both grown. Sunny's resilience had taught her to never give up, and his unwavering trust had shown her the depths of what a human-animal bond could achieve. Sunny's story wasn't just about survival, it was about transformation for him and for everyone he touched. Together, they had turned a moment of despair into a lifelong mission of hope, proving that even in the darkest times, love could light the way. As Sunny's story continued to inspire, Megan found herself drawn deeper into the world of animal rescue. Her involvement with shelters and advocacy groups expanded, and she began assisting with hands-on rescue missions for animals in dire situations. Sunny, now a beacon of resilience and courage, often accompanied her, providing a calming presence to animals in distress. One crisp autumn morning, Megan received an urgent call from the local shelter. A nearby puppy mill had been shut down, and dozens of neglected dogs needed immediate care and transportation to safe locations. The shelter coordinator asked if Megan could help transport a few of the dogs to a rehabilitation center out of town. Without hesitation, Megan agreed. She loaded her car with crates, blankets, and supplies, and Sunny climbed into the passenger seat, his tail wagging as if he knew they were on a mission. Megan glanced at him and smiled. "Ready to help some friends, Sunny?" The scene at the puppy mill was heartbreaking. Rows of cages held malnourished dogs, their eyes dull and their fur matted. Volunteers and animal control officers worked tirelessly to remove them, offering gentle words of reassurance as they carried the frightened animals to waiting vehicles. Megan was assigned 3 dogs, a small terrier mix, a beagle with sad, drooping eyes, and a trembling golden retriever puppy who reminded her of Sunny in his darkest days. As she loaded them into her car, Sunny leaned over the back seat to sniff them, his gentle presence seeming to calm their nerves. The drive to the rehabilitation center was long, but Megan kept the atmosphere light. She played soft music and spoke to the dogs in soothing tones, pausing occasionally to check on them. Sunny, ever the empathetic companion, seemed to sense their fear and offered quiet reassurance by resting his head on the edge of the crate closest to him. When they arrived, the staff at the rehabilitation center welcomed them warmly. Each dog was carefully unloaded and taken for a medical evaluation. Megan lingered by the golden retriever puppy's crate, her heart aching for the tiny, trembling creature. "You're going to be okay," she whispered, her fingers brushing lightly against the puppy's paw. Sunny, standing beside her, let out a soft whine, as if echoing her sentiment. The staff noticed the connection and suggested that Sunny stay with the puppy for a while to help it adjust. Megan agreed, and the 2 golden retrievers were placed in a quiet room together. What followed was nothing short of remarkable. Sunny lay down beside the puppy, his calm demeanor encouraging the little one to relax. The puppy, tentatively at first, moved closer, eventually curling up against Sunny's side. It was a moment of pure trust and comfort, and Megan couldn't help but feel a swell of pride. Sunny, once a symbol of fear and abandonment, had become a source of healing for others. Over the next few weeks, Megan visited the rehabilitation center regularly to check on the rescued dogs, particularly the golden retriever puppy. She named him Finn, and his progress mirrored Sunny's early days. With consistent care, nutritious food, and Sunny's gentle companionship, Finn began to thrive. His fur grew glossy, his eyes brightened, and his tail wagged with increasing frequency. The staff at the center marveled at Sunny's impact. "He's like a therapy dog for these rescues," one of them remarked. "He seems to understand exactly what they need." Megan nodded, her eyes glistening with emotion. "Sunny knows what it's like to be where they are. He's showing them that it gets better." One day, Megan received a call from a family interested in adopting Finn. They had seen his story on the shelter's social media page and felt a deep connection to his journey. Megan was thrilled but also nervous. She wanted to ensure that Finn would have the loving, stable home he deserved. The meeting was arranged at the rehabilitation center. Sunny accompanied Megan, as always, his presence a source of comfort for both her and Finn. The family, a young couple with 2 children, arrived with smiles and treats in hand. The children immediately knelt to greet Finn, their laughter filling the room as he licked their faces and wagged his tail. Sonny watched from a distance, his head tilted slightly as if assessing the scene. After a moment, he walked over to Finn and gave him a gentle nudge, almost as if to say, "It's okay, they're good people." The adoption process went smoothly, and Megan left the center with mixed emotions. She would miss Finn, but knew he was going to a wonderful home. Sonny, sensing her feelings, leaned against her leg as they walked to the car. "You're such a good boy, Sonny," Megan said, her voice soft with gratitude. "So you've helped Finn find his forever family." As the days turned into weeks, Megan reflected on how Sonny's life had come full circle. He was no longer just a rescue dog. He was a hero, a healer, and an advocate for change. Through his journey, countless lives had been touched, from the dogs he comforted to the people who were inspired to take action. Sonny's legacy extended beyond his own transformation. He had become a symbol of hope and resilience, proving that even the most broken spirits could be mended with love and care. And as Megan looked into his wise, gentle eyes, she knew that their work together was far from over. Together, they would continue to fight for animals in need, spreading a message of compassion and second chances. Sonny's journey wasn't just a story, it was a movement, one that would inspire change for years to come. As Sonny's work in rescue and advocacy grew, Megan began to see a pattern in the calls and emails she received from shelters and organizations. Many of the animals being rescued came from areas with limited resources for animal welfare, where abandonment and neglect were heartbreakingly common. This realization sparked an idea. What if she and Sonny could do more than just help individual animals? What if they could work towards systemic change in these underserved areas? Inspired by this thought, Megan started planning a new initiative, Project Second Chance. The goal was to create mobile veterinary clinics and educational programs for rural communities, helping not just animals, but also the people who cared for them. She reached out to friends in the animal welfare community, and the response was overwhelmingly positive. Veterinarians volunteered their time, donors pledged funds, and shelters offered to collaborate. Sonny, of course, was at the heart of it all. His story became the centerpiece of the campaign, and Megan used his image on flyers, social media posts, and promotional videos. People were drawn to his soulful eyes and radiant smile, and the donations poured in. The first Project Second Chance event took place in a small, rural town an hour's drive from Megan's home. The mobile clinic was set up in the town square, offering free vaccinations, checkups, and spay-neuter services. Volunteers handed out informational brochures, while Megan gave a presentation about responsible pet ownership. Sonny, as always, was a natural ambassador. He moved easily among the crowd, greeting children and comforting nervous pets. A shy little boy approached him with a scrawny stray puppy in his arms. "Can you help her?" the boy asked, his voice barely audible. Megan knelt down to meet the boy's eyes. "Of course we can. What's her name?" The boy hesitated, then whispered, "Luna." As the veterinary team examined Luna, Sonny stayed by the boy's side, his calm presence soothing the child. Megan smiled, thinking about how Sonny had come full circle, from a scared, abandoned dog to a symbol of hope and healing. After the event, Megan reflected on the impact they were making. The sight of families leaving the clinic with healthier, happier pets filled her with a sense of purpose. This was what she had dreamed of, not just saving individual animals, but creating lasting change in the lives of entire communities. But even as the initiative gained momentum, Megan couldn't shake a lingering question about Sonny's past. Despite the joy and progress they had achieved together, she often wondered about the circumstances that had led to his abandonment. Who had left him by the roadside, and why? One afternoon, Megan received an unexpected call from Laura, the journalist who had first written Sonny's story. "Megan, I think I found something," Laura said, her voice tinged with excitement. "A woman contacted me after reading Sonny's story. She claims to know who left him." Megan's heart raced. "What did she say?" "She didn't go into details, but she's willing to meet with you. I think she feels guilty and wants to explain." A week later, Megan found herself sitting in a small cafe, Sonny by her side. Across from her sat a woman in her late 20s, her hands trembling as she gripped a cup of tea. Her name was Emily, and her eyes were red from crying. "I'm sorry," Emily began, her voice shaking. "I was the one who left him." Megan's breath caught, but she forced herself to remain calm. "Why?" she asked gently. Emily explained that Sonny had belonged to her elderly father, who had recently passed away. "He loved Sonny," she said, tears streaming down her face. "But after he died, I didn't know what to do. I was overwhelmed with grief, and I wasn't in a place to take care of him. I thought leaving him by the roadside near town would give him a chance to find someone who could." Megan's anger softened into understanding. She saw the pain in Emily's eyes and realized that, while her actions had been misguided, they hadn't come from a place of malice. "Sonny was so scared," Megan said quietly. "But he's okay now." "He's more than okay, he's thriving." Emily reached out tentatively to stroke Sonny's fur. He wagged his tail and leaned into her touch, as if sensing her remorse. "I'm so sorry," Emily whispered, her voice breaking. "I didn't know what else to do." Megan nodded, her heart heavy but hopeful. "You made a mistake, but Sonny's story has helped so many others. Maybe that's his purpose, to show us that even when things go wrong, there's always a chance to make it right." As Megan and Sonny left the cafe, she felt a sense of closure she hadn't expected. Sonny's past no longer felt like a mystery or a wound. It was a part of his journey, one that had led them to this incredible mission. Back at home, Megan sat with Sonny on the porch, the golden light of sunset casting a warm glow over their little house. "You've come so far, Sonny," she said, her voice filled with pride. "And we're just getting started." Sonny rested his head on her lap, his tail wagging softly. Together, they looked out at the horizon, ready to face whatever the future held. As Project Second Chance expanded, Megan and Sonny found themselves traveling more frequently, bringing resources and hope to communities in need. Their efforts had gained significant attention, and while most of it was positive, not everyone welcomed the change. A group of individuals involved in illegal puppy mills and animal exploitation viewed the project as a threat to their operations. Unbeknownst to Megan, their growing success had placed them in danger. One chilly morning, Megan and Sonny arrived at a remote town for another Project Second Chance event. The sun had barely risen, and the air was crisp and filled with the scent of pine. Volunteers bustled about, setting up tents and tables for the mobile clinic. Sonny trotted alongside Megan, his tail wagging as he greeted the team. The event started smoothly. Families arrived with their pets, grateful for the free medical services and supplies. Megan was in the middle of speaking with a couple about spaying their cat when a volunteer approached her, looking concerned. "There's a man asking about you," the volunteer said. "He's been hanging around the edge of the event, watching." Megan's stomach tightened. She glanced in the direction the volunteer indicated and spotted a figure leaning against a truck, his hat pulled low over his face. Sonny seemed to sense her unease, moving closer to her side. Deciding to confront the situation head-on, Megan approached the man, her posture confident but non-threatening. "Hi there," she said, her voice steady. "Can I help you with something?" The man looked up, his eyes cold and calculating. "You're causing a lot of trouble for people like me," he said bluntly. "All this talk about shutting down puppy mills and stopping illegal breeding, it's bad for business." Megan's heart raced, but she refused to let fear show. "We're here to help animals and their families," she replied firmly. "If that's a problem for you, I suggest you leave." The man smirked, his gaze shifting to Sonny. "Nice dog," he said. "Shame if something happened to him." Before Megan could respond, Sonny let out a low growl, stepping protectively in front of her. The man held up his hands mockingly. All right, I'm leaving," he said, backing away toward his truck. But his parting words sent a chill down Megan's spine. "Watch your back." That night, Megan couldn't shake the encounter from her mind. She double-checked the locks on the doors and windows, keeping Sonny close by. His presence was comforting, but she couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that they were being watched. In the days that followed, strange things began to happen. Megan noticed tire tracks in her driveway that didn't match her car. Their package of supplies for Project Second Chance arrived damaged, with a threatening note inside. The words were simple but chilling. "Stay out of our business." Megan reported the incidents to the authorities, who promised to increase patrols near her home. But she knew she couldn't rely solely on them. She installed security cameras around the property and made sure Sunny was always by her side. Despite the threats, Megan refused to let fear derail her mission. She continued her work with determination, knowing that giving up would only embolden those trying to intimidate her. Sunny seemed to share her resolve, staying alert and watchful wherever they went. One night, as Megan was preparing dinner, Sunny suddenly began barking furiously. His deep, protective barks echoed through the house, and Megan's heart leapt into her throat. She rushed to the window and saw shadows moving near the edge of the yard. Grabbing her phone, she dialed the police while Sunny continued barking, his body tense and ready. As she spoke with the dispatcher, a loud crash came from the back of the house. Someone had broken a window. Sunny darted toward the noise, his instincts kicking in. Megan followed cautiously, finding him standing between her and the intruder, a man dressed in dark clothes, holding a crowbar. Sunny growled, his teeth bared and his stance unwavering. "Get out of here!" Megan shouted, her voice trembling but fierce. The intruder hesitated, clearly unsettled by Sunny's aggressive posture. As the sound of approaching sirens grew louder, he dropped the crowbar and fled into the night. When the police arrived, they commended Sunny for his bravery. "You've got a real hero here," one officer said, scratching behind Sunny's ears. "He probably saved your life." Megan hugged Sunny tightly, tears streaming down her face. "You're my guardian angel," she whispered, her voice breaking with emotion. The incident only strengthened Megan's resolve. She knew the risks of standing up for what was right, but Sunny's courage reminded her why it was worth it. Together, they were a team, unstoppable in their mission to create a better world for animals. In the days following the break-in, Megan received an outpouring of support from the community. Friends, neighbors, and volunteers rallied around her, offering assistance and encouragement. Donations to Project Second Chance surged, and several organizations reached out, offering to collaborate on expanding the initiative. Sunny, now hailed as a local hero, received even more attention than before. Children at events flocked to him, eager to meet the dog who had protected his owner. Megan often used these moments to share the importance of adopting rescue animals, emphasizing the loyalty and love they brought into people's lives. "You don't just save them," she would say. "They save you too." The break-in and threats shook Megan, but they also fueled her determination to make Project Second Chance an even greater force for change. Instead of retreating, she decided to amplify the initiative's mission, using the attention Sunny's heroic act had garnered to rally support. Megan's first step was to organize a public awareness event called Pause for Justice, held in the town square. The event aimed to shed light on the dark realities of animal exploitation and the importance of standing up against those who perpetuated it. The campaign's slogan, "Speak for those who cannot speak for themselves," was displayed prominently, with Sunny as the face of the movement. The turnout for Pause for Justice was overwhelming. Families, activists, and animal lovers from all over the region gathered to show their support. Booths lined the square, offering information on adopting rescue animals, reporting animal abuse, and identifying the signs of illegal breeding operations. Volunteers handed out flyers, and local businesses donated food and supplies for the event. Megan stood on a makeshift stage, microphone in hand, with Sunny sitting proudly beside her. She shared her journey, how she found Sunny abandoned and how he became a symbol of resilience and courage. "Sunny's story is proof that change is possible," she said, her voice steady and passionate. "But it's up to us to make that change happen." The crowd erupted in applause, and Megan felt a surge of hope. She knew that for every person there, the message of compassion and action would ripple outward, reaching even more hearts. The event also attracted media attention. Journalists and bloggers interviewed Megan, eager to learn more about Sunny's story and the challenges they faced. One journalist asked, "How do you stay motivated in the face of such intense opposition?" Megan glanced at Sunny, who sat calmly at her side. "Because it's not just about me," she said. "It's about them, animals like Sunny, who deserve a second chance. If we back down, we're letting fear win. And I refuse to let that happen." The coverage brought national attention to Project Second Chance, leading to partnerships with larger organizations and even a few celebrities who pledged their support. Donations soared, allowing Megan to expand the initiative to new areas and provide even more resources for animals and their communities. But not everyone was thrilled with the movement's success. The individuals behind the illegal operations began to retaliate in subtler ways, spreading misinformation, attempting to sabotage events, and even sending anonymous threats to Megan's supporters. Despite these challenges, Megan stood firm, bolstered by the overwhelming support of the community and the unwavering loyalty of Sunny. One evening, Megan received a call from an anonymous number. She hesitated before answering, her heart pounding. A gruff voice came through the line. "You think you're helping? You're just making things worse." Megan's hands trembled, but she forced herself to respond. "If you're trying to scare me, it's not going to work. We're not stopping." The voice laughed coldly. "You'll regret this." As the call ended, Megan felt a mix of fear and resolve. She immediately reported the call to the authorities, who assured her they were taking the threats seriously. But she knew that the fight wasn't just about safety. It was about proving that compassion could triumph over cruelty. Sunny became even more attuned to Megan's emotions during this time, staying close to her whenever she seemed anxious. His presence was a constant reminder of why she couldn't give up. Together, they had overcome so much, and this was just another hurdle in their journey. Megan began implementing additional security measures for Project Second Chance events, including hiring off-duty officers and installing surveillance equipment. The extra precautions ensured the safety of both the animals and the volunteers, allowing the initiative to continue its mission without interruption. One pivotal moment came during an undercover operation to expose a major puppy mill. Megan had been working with a team of investigators, using information gathered from whistleblowers and former employees of the illegal operation. The evidence they collected was enough to warrant a raid, and Megan was invited to witness the rescue efforts firsthand. The scene was heartbreaking. Dozens of dogs confined to filthy cages, many of them malnourished and sick. As the rescue team worked to free them, Megan spotted a trembling golden retriever in the corner of one cage. The dog's eyes were filled with fear, but when Sunny approached, tail wagging gently, the retriever's demeanor shifted. For the first time, Megan saw a spark of hope in the dog's eyes. Sunny's ability to connect with the rescued animals was nothing short of miraculous. It was as if he knew exactly what they needed, offering comfort and reassurance in a way no human could. The raid resulted in the closure of the puppy mill and the rescue of over 50 dogs. The operation made headlines, further cementing Project Second Chance as a powerful force in the fight against animal cruelty. Megan used the attention to push for stricter laws and greater accountability for those who exploited animals. As Megan and Sunny returned home after the raid, they sat together on the porch, watching the stars. "We did something good today," Megan said, her voice filled with quiet pride. Sunny rested his head on her lap, his eyes reflecting the warmth of her words. They both knew the journey was far from over, but in that moment, they allowed themselves to bask in the victory. Together, they were making the world a kinder place, one rescue, one story, one second chance at a time. As Project Second Chance gained national recognition, it also attracted increased scrutiny and threats from those whose illicit operations were being exposed. Megan knew the risks, but refused to back down, believing in the power of the movement she and Sunny had built. However, the adversaries she had made were more resourceful and determined than she had anticipated. One fateful morning, as Megan prepared for another community event, she noticed something unusual. Sunny was pacing near the front door, his ears perked and his tail stiff. Megan glanced outside and froze. A black SUV was parked down the street, its windows tinted so dark that she couldn't see who was inside. Her pulse quickened, but she forced herself to stay calm. She grabbed her phone and snapped a picture of the vehicle before calling the police to report the suspicious activity. As she described the situation, Sunny began growling softly, his eyes fixed on the SUV. "Megan, we're on our way," the dispatcher assured her. "Stay inside and keep your doors locked." The SUV lingered for what felt like an eternity before finally pulling away, but Megan's sense of unease remained. That evening, as she reviewed footage from her security cameras, she noticed a shadowy figure walking around her property. The figure stopped near the back porch, seemingly inspecting her home before disappearing into the night. The following day, Megan received a chilling email. It contained a single sentence: "You've been warned." Determined not to be intimidated, Megan forwarded the message to the authorities and doubled down on her security measures. She knew she couldn't let fear paralyze her, not when so many animals depended on her work. The next major Project Second Chance event was scheduled in a neighboring town, and Megan was determined to make it a success, despite the recent threats. The event was held in a large park, with booths, mobile veterinary clinics, and adoption areas set up to help local animals. Sunny, as always, was a comforting presence. He greeted attendees with his wagging tail and soulful eyes, his calm demeanor setting the tone for the day. Megan spoke passionately about the importance of rescue work, sharing Sunny's story with the crowd. However, as the event progressed, Megan couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. She noticed a man lingering near the edge of the park, his baseball cap pulled low over his face. Sunny seemed to notice him too, his posture alert, but not aggressive. When the man began walking toward the booths, Megan instinctively stepped in his path. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice steady despite the apprehension building inside her. The man didn't respond. Instead, he shoved past her, heading straight for the adoption area where several volunteers were helping families meet rescue dogs. Sunny barked sharply, positioning himself between the man and the volunteers. The commotion drew the attention of event security, who quickly intercepted the man. He muttered something under his breath before walking away, but Megan couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't done. That evening, as Megan and Sunny packed up their supplies, a loud bang echoed across the parking lot. Megan's heart leapt into her throat as she turned to see the black SUV speeding toward the event tents. Sunny barked furiously, his protective instincts kicking in. The SUV came to a screeching halt, and two masked men jumped out, shouting for everyone to leave. Megan quickly ushered the remaining volunteers and attendees to safety, but Sunny refused to leave her side. As the men began overturning tables and destroying supplies, Sunny lunged forward, barking with such intensity that they paused. One of the men raised a hand as if to strike him, but Sunny didn't back down. His fierce determination was enough to make them hesitate. Just then, police sirens blared in the distance. The men exchanged panicked glances before scrambling back into the SUV and speeding away. Megan collapsed to her knees, hugging Sunny tightly as relief and adrenaline coursed through her. The incident made headlines, shining a spotlight on the dangers faced by those fighting for animal welfare. But it also galvanized support for Project Second Chance. Donations poured in, and volunteers from across the country offered their help. Megan, however, knew the fight was far from over. She and Sunny had faced incredible challenges, but their work was only beginning. The threats they had endured highlighted the urgency of their mission and the need for systemic change. A week after the incident, Megan received a call from the authorities. The men responsible for the attack had been identified and arrested, and their ties to an extensive network of illegal animal operations were being uncovered. The evidence Megan and her team had gathered over the months played a crucial role in dismantling the network. Megan felt a surge of pride, not just for herself, but for Sunny and everyone who had supported their cause. Together, they had made a tangible difference. As the sun set on another busy day, Megan and Sunny sat on the porch of their home, reflecting on everything they had endured. "You've been my rock through it all," Megan said, stroking Sunny's golden fur. "I don't know what I'd do without you." Sunny rested his head on her lap, his eyes filled with unspoken understanding. He had been abandoned, rescued, and transformed. And in turn, he had transformed the lives of countless others. Their journey had been filled with trials and triumphs, but Megan knew one thing for certain. Together they could face anything. The culmination of Sunny and Megan's journey arrived on the grandest stage they could have imagined. Project Second Chance had been invited to present at a National Animal Welfare Conference, a prestigious event attended by advocates, policymakers, and industry leaders. The invitation was a testament to the impact of their work, but for Megan, it was also a chance to share the incredible story of Sunny, a tale that embodied hope, resilience, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. The conference was held in a sprawling convention center, its halls filled with displays of innovative projects and success stories from across the nation. Megan and her team set up their booth, showcasing Project Second Chance's milestones and initiatives. Sunny, as always, was at the heart of the display. A large banner featured his smiling face alongside the words, "From abandoned to adored, one dog's journey to change the world." The keynote session was the highlight of the event, and Megan was the featured speaker. As she took the stage, the auditorium fell silent. Sonny sat beside her, his golden coat gleaming under the stage lights, his calm presence grounding her nerves. Megan began her speech by recounting the day she found Sonny by the roadside, alone and sick. She described his transformation and how his courage had inspired her to create Project Second Chance. "Sonny's story is not unique," she said, her voice steady and filled with emotion. "Every abandoned animal has the potential to change lives. They just need someone to believe in them." She spoke about the challenges they had faced, from the threats of those who opposed their work to the heart-wrenching moments of rescuing animals from dire situations. But she also highlighted the triumphs, the lives saved, the families created, and the communities united by a shared mission. As Megan concluded her speech, she looked down at Sonny, who gazed back at her with unwavering trust. "Sonny taught me that no act of kindness is too small to make a difference. Together, we can create a world where every animal has a second chance." The audience erupted into applause, many on their feet, moved by Megan's words and Sonny's presence. The ovation was a testament to the power of their story and the impact of their work. After the keynote, attendees flocked to Megan and Sonny, eager to meet them and learn more about Project Second Chance. Among them was a prominent philanthropist who introduced himself as Richard Bennett. "Your story is incredible," he said, his tone sincere. "I'd like to fund your next expansion." Megan's breath caught. "That would be amazing," she replied, barely able to contain her excitement. With Richard's support, they could bring Project Second Chance to regions they had only dreamed of reaching. But the climax of the day wasn't over yet. As the conference wrapped up, Megan received an unexpected call from the rehabilitation center that had worked with her during Sonny's initial recovery. "We've located Sonny's original owner," the director said. Megan's heart raced. She had always wondered about Sonny's past, but hadn't actively pursued answers, wanting to focus on his future. "Who is it?" she asked, her voice trembling. The director explained that a woman named Helen had been searching for Sonny ever since he disappeared. She was elderly and had fallen ill around the time Sonny was abandoned. Her family, overwhelmed with caring for her, had mistakenly left Sonny by the roadside, thinking a local shelter would find him. When Helen recovered and discovered what had happened, she was devastated and had spent years trying to find him. Megan's emotions swirled, joy for Helen, sadness for the pain she must have endured, and a pang of fear at the thought of losing Sonny. But she knew what she had to do. A week later, Megan and Sonny visited Helen's modest home. The elderly woman, frail but with a warm smile, opened the door, her eyes filled with tears as she saw Sonny. "Oh, my sweet boy," she whispered, her voice trembling. Sonny hesitated for a moment, then stepped forward, nuzzling her hand. Megan watched as the two reconnected, their bond undeniable. Helen looked up at Megan, gratitude shining in her eyes. "Thank you for saving him," she said. "You gave him a life I couldn't." Megan smiled, her heart aching but full. "He saved me more than I've saved him." After spending hours sharing stories and memories, Megan and Helen came to an agreement. Sonny would stay with Megan, where he had built a life and a purpose, but Helen would be a part of his extended family. Megan promised to bring Sonny to visit regularly, ensuring Helen would never lose touch with the dog she loved. As Megan and Sonny drove home, she reflected on how far they had come. Their journey had been one of heartache and hope, challenges and triumphs. Sonny's story had touched countless lives, inspiring others to believe in second chances. Looking over at Sonny, Megan reached out to scratch behind his ears. "We've been through so much, haven't we?" she said softly. Sonny wagged his tail, his eyes filled with the same quiet wisdom that had guided her all along. They had faced adversity and come out stronger, their bond unbreakable, and as they looked ahead to the future, Megan knew one thing for certain: together, they could overcome anything. The months following the conference were transformative for Megan and Project Second Chance. With the support of the new funding and partnerships, the initiative expanded to underserved regions, setting up permanent rescue centers and mobile clinics. Megan found herself busier than ever, but Sonny remained her steadfast companion through it all, his presence a constant reminder of why she had started this journey. Sunny's story continued to inspire people far and wide. Schools invited Megan to speak about animal welfare, with Sunny often accompanying her to meet the students. His calm demeanor and gentle nature made him an instant favorite among children, many of whom left the talks eager to adopt their own rescue animals. One day, a young boy approached Megan after a presentation, clutching a drawing of Sunny. "I want to be like you when I grow up," he said shyly. "I want to help animals." Megan knelt down to his level, her eyes shining. "You already are," she said, pointing to the drawing. "Sunny and I are proud of you." Moments like these reinforced Megan's belief that the ripple effects of their work would last for generations. Meanwhile, Helen became a cherished part of Megan and Sunny's lives. True to her word, Megan brought Sunny to visit Helen regularly. During one visit, Helen shared a box of photographs from Sunny's early days, showing him as a playful puppy, his golden fur shining in the sunlight. "He's always been special," Helen said, her voice filled with affection. "And now he's doing something extraordinary." Megan nodded, her heart full. "He's changed my life in ways I never expected." The new facilities established by Project Second Chance thrived under Megan's leadership. Each center became a beacon of hope for animals and their families, offering everything from medical care to adoption services. Sunny's image became synonymous with the project, gracing logos, posters, and even a children's book about his journey. One day, while visiting one of the new centers, Megan encountered a family adopting a shy golden retriever mix. The dog reminded her of Sunny in his early days, timid but full of potential. The family's youngest daughter, clutching a stuffed animal, looked up at Megan and said, "We're going to give him a second chance." Megan's throat tightened as she watched the family drive away, their new companion peeking out the window. Sunny wagged his tail beside her, as if to say, "This is why we do this." The initiative's success also led to important changes on a larger scale. Inspired by Megan's advocacy, lawmakers passed stricter regulations on puppy mills and harsher penalties for animal cruelty. Public awareness campaigns, featuring Sunny as the spokesdog, encouraged people to adopt rather than shop for pets, shifting cultural attitudes toward rescue animals. Megan often reflected on the journey that had brought them here. It wasn't just about saving animals, it was about creating a movement rooted in compassion and community. And at the heart of it all was Sunny, whose resilience had sparked a revolution. One quiet evening, Megan and Sunny sat together on their porch, watching the sunset. The sky was painted in hues of orange and pink, casting a warm glow over their peaceful home. Sunny rested his head on Megan's lap, his eyes half closed in contentment. "You've done so much, you know," Megan murmured, running her fingers through his fur. "Not just for me, but for so many others. You're a hero, Sunny." Sunny wagged his tail lazily, his trust in Megan as unshakable as ever. They stayed like that for a while, enjoying the serenity of the moment, knowing they had made the world a kinder place. The legacy of Project Second Chance and Sunny's story lived on, not just in the lives they had directly touched, but in the countless others they had inspired. People across the country, and even the world, shared stories of how they had rescued and been rescued in return, creating a ripple effect of compassion that transcended borders. As Megan looked out at the horizon, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The journey had been far from easy, but it had been worth every challenge and sacrifice. Together, she and Sunny had proven that even in the face of adversity, love and resilience could prevail. And as the stars began to twinkle in the evening sky, Megan smiled, knowing that their story was far from over. With Sunny by her side, she was ready for whatever the future held. Sunny's story is just one of many. Every animal deserves a second chance, and together we can make that happen. If you've been moved by this story, consider adopting, fostering, or supporting your local rescue organizations. Let's create a world where every animal is loved and cared for. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Sunny's journey with others.